Okay, welcome back. Day 2 of online classing, and glad to have you back. Was glad that I got comments back from several of the students because the tab didn't work, the link didn't work, and I'm sorry about that. I apologize. After 3 attempts or more, maybe, we finally got it, I think, and I think we'll get better as we keep doing this, hopefully. And so today, we're gonna dig right into lesson 6.4 and try to get through lesson 6.6 as much as we possibly can. I'm gonna go fast. You can always come back and review the tapes. Again, that's the nice thing about having it. You can click back on it and pick up anything that you might have missed the first time around, but I am gonna try to go fast. We're going to pray and go over our verse, and then we'll jump right in. Lord, I ask you to help us to use the time wisely, to get a lot covered today, to help the fellas to get caught up to where we need to be, help them in getting all their work together and studying, that they might be efficient with it and do the very best that they can. I pray you'll meet their needs during these days, be with their families, keep everybody healthy, and pray that you'll keep spirits up and help us to just look forward to the day when we can all be back here again together, and it'll be an exciting day. We ask these things in your name. Amen. So our verse is John 11, verses 25 and 26a. Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Yesterday we went over everything from lesson 6.1 to 6.3, which was all review. We went over all the questions that are going to be on the unit test coming up, which you will have available to you this Friday. And so today we want to dig in with a new lesson, lesson 6.4, and I can tell you right now that your assignment, if you look on Grade Links, it's on there, but your assignment is to do the homework on 6.4, 6.5, and 6.6. That is due anytime between now and a week from Friday. Just as long as I get it by a week from Friday, I'll be a happy man, and you'll be happy because you have got it done. And so I'm going to try to help you today as we go through this. I'm going to not necessarily give you the answers, but I'm going to highlight where you can find them at. So you might have to do a little reading, which should be something new for some of you guys. But I'll give you a chance to know where to read and where to find the answers. And then you can get that done. Plus, as we go along, I'm going to give you the questions that will be on the unit test and where you can find those. So by the time we're done, if we finish today, by the time we're done, you will have all the questions and answers that are going to be on the unit test that you get Friday. So just hang in there with me. We're going to make it. So we're on page, would be page number 143, which starts out this section, but we're actually going to jump to page 144, which is where the notes actually start for today. Compassion in action, and this is talking about Christ meeting up with the men that had leprosy and their thankfulness to him, and the compassion that they showed, the compassion he showed, and then the compassion that they showed back to him also. At least one of them did. And so here on page 144, we only have one question that deals with the unit test, and that's found right in the middle paragraph. It says, 9 of the men were probably Jews. 1 was a Samaritan, someone most Jews would have despised. But when this man discovered that his disease was gone, he turned back and found Jesus again. And like the silverback jackal, he was the only one to return. And if you follow that down, he gave thanks. So when Jesus healed the 10 lepers, only one of them was grateful enough to come back and thank him. And that's a true, so that's true and false question. And of course, the answer is going to be true. The questions at the end of this lesson, which are on page 145, there's only 5 questions, and they are all found in this paragraph, or these 2 paragraphs, excuse me, these two paragraphs right here, starting with Jesus responded to their plea, which is like the second full paragraph down. So starting with that paragraph and the one that I just read, those two paragraphs have all the answers that you need for the 5 questions, except for maybe the last one. And the last one says, the thankful one wasn't a Jew. Why do you think Jesus commented on this fact? And a lot of it has to do, it is kind of written in there, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's a Samaritan. The Jews didn't like the Samaritans. They looked down on him. And so maybe Jesus was pointing out that he is no respecter of persons. It doesn't matter what your background is, your family is, your lifestyle is, or who you are. That doesn't matter. It's the heart that Jesus is looking at, and the Samaritan had a good heart, and that's why he was highlighted here over all the rest of them, is because he cared enough to come back and thank Jesus. So maybe that, you can simplify that answer, but that would be number 5. And then the other 4 are up above that in those 2 paragraphs. So then we go on to page 145, and there's a chart there that talks about the miracles of healing. And there's a question, well actually before we get to that, right above the questions there on page 145 is another question that's going to be on the test. Not complaining is the best way to show gratitude. This again is a true or false question. Not complaining is the best way to show gratitude, and that's false. It says there, right the last line right before the questions, it says, it's one thing not to complain. It's another thing altogether to express your thanks to God and others for the many kindnesses they show you. So being thankful is important. Not just not complaining, but actually expressing your thanks verbally. Telling somebody thank you is a nice thing to do every once in a while. All right, so here on the chart on the bottom of page 145, the miracles of healing, we have another question that deals with that chart. Name 3 of the diseases or physical conditions Jesus healed. And there are 10 of them, and actually you could eliminate the last one, death, because death is not necessarily a disease. That's just part of nature there. So any of those 9 that are listed there, you can list any 3 of those. You need to have 3 of them on that test. All right. So then we go on to page 146, spiritual deliverance, and we're talking here about the man that had demons in Gadara, and he was a wild man, totally out of control. Nobody could control him. And Jesus was one of the only people that could actually reach him and was able to get rid of the demons that were in him. And of course they went into a herd of swine. The swine took a run off the cliff and committed suicide because they were pigs. But anyways, they all died. So that's the story there. So Jesus cared enough about this man when nobody else wanted anything to do with him. Jesus cared enough to reach out to him and help him with the problem that he had. So on page 146, we have several questions here that are going to be on the test. First one is what region, or the region near Galilee where the demon-possessed man was healed, and that's Gadara. And that part there, you're just going to have to pick that name out. It'll be listed there, and you have to find that name and write it down. And that's right in the very end of the first paragraph there on page 146. In the middle of that next paragraph is our next question. The demons controlling the man from Gadara apparently gave him blank strength so that he could break chains. And the answer to that is superhuman strength. He had superhuman strength. Very, very hard to realize anybody being able to break these chains. So he had some kind of super strength that nobody else could have had. Superhuman. And then also in that same paragraph, the question, Jesus gave the demons permission to go into the herd of pigs to destroy the animals, and that is false. He just told the demons to leave him. He did not direct them as to where to go, but he knew where they were going to go, and that's how it all worked out. and it definitely made a statement to all the people that were gathered around there. The next paragraph down says, why did the people in Gadara ask Jesus to leave when they saw the demon-possessed man had been delivered? It was because they were afraid of him. And so that's the answer to that one. And all the way down to the very, very bottom, page 146 is the next question. Demons often attack Christians but cannot indwell or possess them. This is another true or false question, and the answer to that is true. Now, also, section lesson 6-5, the questions for that section are on page 147 and the top of page 148. There are 7 questions. I will tell you that all 7 of them are found on page 146. From the second paragraph and the third paragraph. Those 2 paragraphs, again, have in them all the answers for all 7 questions, except for maybe number 6, which is going to take a little bit of thinking on your part. Why did Jesus let the demons go into the herd of pigs even though he knew what the result would be? And so you can kind of come up with your own answer. Why do you think he would allow that to happen? Maybe because he was a Jew and Jews don't like ham. So he wanted to get rid of all the ham. I don't know. I don't think that was the reason, but it's a good reason if you want to try that one. But anyways, so that's kind of a thought-provoking question that you can come up with the answer on your own there. We're going to jump over to page 148. We're on the home stretch here. Page 148, section 6-6. And the questions for this section here are on the next page, 148. And there are 6 questions. And I can tell you that all, well, let me see here. The bulk of those answers are going to be found on page 148. And pretty much in every paragraph on page 148, you're going to find the first 4. 5 and 6, why did Jesus pray out loud at the tomb? And it's kind of a trying to ask your opinion. Why do you think he prayed out loud? This is your opinion. And then number 6, what did Jesus prove by this miracle of giving life to a man who had been dead for 4 days? So this again is your opinion. The last 2 questions are your opinion. Why do you think this happened? So that's the 6 questions there. Going back to page 148, in the paragraph that's right under why wait, the question why wait, and this is talking about Lazarus. Lazarus died, and his sisters had called for Jesus to come. They thought while he was sick, they thought Jesus could make him better, and Jesus delayed his coming, and while he was delaying his coming, Lazarus dies. And really, it wasn't necessary for him to delay his coming. He wasn't that far away. He could have gotten there easily, but he knew that there was something that was going to be taught in this whole scenario. So he took his time and came to Lazarus. So that's what this story here is about. So what region, or the region Jesus was in when he heard that his friend was sick is called Perea. It's an area called Perea. And again, it wasn't that far, but he could have gotten there, but that's where he was at when he first heard about it. On page 149, we have 3 more questions here on page 149. And in the second to the last paragraph, where it starts out, this rebellious attitude of unbelief was carried to its logical conclusion by Caiaphas, high priest who prophesied that Jesus would die for the nation. And that is talking about Caiaphas. So that's where that one comes in. And then in the next paragraph after that, which miracle convinced the Jewish religious leaders that they should kill Jesus? And the miracle would be the resurrecting of Lazarus. When that happened, it convinced his enemies that they needed to do something to get rid of him, because nothing like that had ever happened before, and it created quite a stir and irritated a lot of people. So something had to be done, and they felt like the only thing that could happen is to get rid of Jesus and kill him. In the purple box, it's talking about resurrection power, and from that we get our last question. Even today, Jesus sometimes miraculously heals a person of a physical illness, but this is not the normal thing he does. And the answer to that is true. It's a true or false question, and it's true. Jesus still does heal, and people have been healed. I've heard of it many, many times. So many people do still get healed, but it's not the normal thing that Jesus does. He's an intercessor. He intercedes on our behalf to the Father. And sometimes the intercession he does is in answer to prayer for somebody to be healed, but sometimes it's other things that we pray for, like salvation of our loved ones or something similar to that. So it's not necessarily the normal, but it does happen. And so I believe we are done with that. I'm going to, this will be Tuesday's lesson, even though we don't normally have class on Tuesday. Maybe some of you aren't going to look for it, so you're going to wait till Wednesday. So you may see this either Tuesday or Wednesday, but it has everything on it now. And so Friday, I will skip Wednesday and Thursday. I've given you all the notes you need for the test and for the questions in the book. But I will have class with you on Friday, and we'll just kind of go back over everything and make sure that you have everything you need. So you have a good day, and we'll talk to you on Friday. Thank you.